What goes on, everyone? Look at that. What kind of weird mirror reflection is this one? Well, anyway, enough of that trickery. It's been a very hectic weekend. It gets even longer. You would be safer anywhere else than Minneapolis, okay? So here Robert Ricardo is in denial about things getting bad. At some point you realize that it's about crazy white people. It doesn't matter which shade of white you are. It's about crazy white people going on about themselves, okay? Now, I thought this was interesting. Now, here I posted this on X. A beautiful video by Megan Kelly and Megan Kelly Show with the prosecutor and defender looking at both sides of the incident with Alex Pretty. And this is good because so here you have a sort of a defender and you have a prosecutor. So, she's the judge. She's Judge Megan right here. So I like this. And, you know, one person says here, if you do carry a gun to a protest, it seems incumbent on the carrier to refrain from physically addressing a police officer of any kind. And I'm not sure where I said anything. I have a permit and have one for years. I would never get involved in that kind of activity. And I'm not sure where I said anything, but I know I said something. Oh yeah, who cares? Someone does. Um, yeah. So somebody was telling me that I shouldn't have said anything, but I said to him, dude, my father owned guns, and not only did my dad own firearms, he owned Smith and Wessons, he owned Colts, he owned Rugers, he owned Colts, Smith and Wessons, Winchester rifles. I used to shoot. Let me pause this for a moment. I used to shoot guns with him all the time up until I was about maybe 18 years old. I used to shoot guns all the time for him. I hated shooting guns. I don't like guns. And part of the reason I didn't like guns was because the one time I think I talked about this, but my dad would hit me when he was drunk because I wasn't shooting targets right. And I wasn't shooting the way he wanted me to shoot. So he slapped me around when he drank tequila. And that was hard. He treated me like I was garbage. I felt worse than a black slave. And I don't say that jokingly. I felt horrible. So because I wasn't shooting the targets the right way or doing things he just knew that I didn't want to be there. So he was upset that I didn't like the things that he liked, and he punished me for it. And that was when I was 15. And you couldn't pay me enough money to forget about that. Okay? None of you who hate me on the worst level. You don't know a damn thing about me. So for those of you who hate me, shut the fuck up because this is learning time. So not only would he collect Winchesters and Colts and Smith and Wessons, he would make his own bullets. He had a clay pot or an iron pot to put molten lead in. He would cast the molds. He would make the bullets. He would get the gunpowder. He had scales, like a brass scale to weigh how much the gunpowder was. He would have machines that would have handles like levers, okay? And you would put the gunpowder into the casing. You would measure it just right so he could shoot his own bullets that he made himself. That's how he was with his revolvers. It was an experience learning how to shoot a gun. You don't shoot a gun with one hand like Dirty Harry. You're shooting a gun with two hands because a gun is heavy. It is a cannon, like the cannons you see on a ship. It is that heavy of a thing in your hands. Okay, it's the weight of a gun, and a Colt will put a hole in you much deeper than those cheap smaller guns they have these days. I have one gun these days, but that's it. I just don't care to collect guns. I'm not a gun owner. In reality, I just have the one gun, and it's not even a Colt or a Smith and Wesson. I just don't care about those things. So it wasn't for me. Now, going back to this, here you got a guy with a permit. Now, I said before somebody argued with me on Megan Kelly's video that I shouldn't say anything about a safety being on. I'm not a real gun owner, and I don't know much about gun laws, except that if you do have a permit. And by the way, reportedly, he did not have his ID. So if you don't have your ID, that means you're not, you practically don't have your permit with you. So you're just carrying the gun around and nobody knows if you're supposed to have your permit or not. You could say, oh, yes, I'm supposed to have a permit. I pinky swear I have a permit. Well, we don't know. We have to check, don't we? Right? But at that moment, everything is happening in real time so fast. They're not playing a nice game of chess. This is like hungry hippos or what is it? Crossfire. Crossfire. Everything is happening between defending the woman who was out there protesting, between getting into altercations with ICE agents. Now, I heard one shot and then multiple shots. And what Megan Kelly had said was that the one shot was from the discharged gun. So either the gun was faulty and it would fire anyway, or the safety was off and the hammer was cocked back, so it would discharge. Um, when I was 14 years old, I was in my room, and the gun, a loud gunshot went off with a hole through the wall. Now, if I had been within 2 feet of that hole, I think I would have had a hole in me. That gun would have put a hole in me. Would I be dead? Probably. But the gun went off. My youngest sister, had put my dad's gun away, his hand revolver, but left the hammer on and didn't take the safety, put the safety on. So she didn't put the safety back on. So I don't know about gun laws, but I'm pretty sure that you're supposed to have your safety on and you're supposed to have your identification and or permit. And I'm not sure how gun permits work, but I think you're supposed to have those things with you at all times so that if police ever search you and you say I have a permit, I have an ID, then they know what's going on with that and they don't shoot at you. But something had happened between the one shot fired and the multiple shots. It's like back and to the left, right? You have to go. So, but here's the thing. Even if ICE agents can prove that they were righteous in their procedures, the crazy white people in Minneapolis don't give a fuck. They don't care. If Tim Walz said tonight, or tomorrow morning, we're going to line up all the ICE. I'm going to get which I saw that he employed the National Guard with the yellow vests. That's so that they would just give coffee and donuts to these fucking lunatics, these woke alphabet lunatics out there. Don't encourage bad behavior. Don't reward bad behavior. They're gonna start shit. If Tim Walz said we're gonna get the National Guard, we're gonna line up all the ICE agents on their knees with their hands behind their head and shoot them in the back of the head, people would be defecating. They'd be jerking off on the streets. Okay, much like Planet Fitness, which Megan Kelly knows that. It's out in the open. These people would be beating off. The women, the gay women would be taking out the dildos and be like, oh, we're going to kill everybody. These people, they're not fighting for Mexicans. They're not fighting for immigrants. They're not fighting for illegal immigrants. They're just fighting. They're just fighting. There's nothing to what they're doing anymore. Which brings me to the Gotham portion of this. Now, I had this. This was I've had this for a while. This, if you all remember this show, this is Gotham. I got this at a Black Friday deal. Oh, when did I get this? Probably 7 years ago. So Gotham season 5 deals with No Man's Land, which is based on the comic book. Okay, that's 20 years before that. It'll be, let's see, 27 years? It'll be 27 years since that storyline came out in the comic books. And here, I'll read this to you because if you've never seen Gotham from Fox TV, okay? So this is the end. The legend of the Dark Knight resumes with Gotham City divided between GCPD, Detective Jim Gordon's jurisdiction, and the city's most notorious supervillains, including egomaniacal Penguin, that's Robin Lord Taylor, vengeful love interest Barbara Keene, zealous Scarecrow, Riddler, Catwoman, and others, with Gordon struggling to gain control of the city. And also you have the Joker in there somewhere. The city on the edge of anarchy. The 5th and final season of Gotham wraps up its iconic DC origin story by revealing Bruce Wayne, now a serious teen, as he undergoes his ultimate transformation into the Caped Crusader, with blood feuds, standoffs, and explosive action. So this is like No Man's Land. Gotham City is out of control. people are killing each other. There's gang territory. So you got the Penguin versus Joker versus. Uh, they do mention Mr. Freeze and Firefly. They have their own territories. Ice versus Fire. They have Scarecrow, and they have. What, there's a couple of personal stories, but most of these stories are really uh, they're really dark. And so these people have nothing. The government won't help them until the very end, in which you have like Nisa Al Ghul, or like the Ra's al Ghul sort of. Was it Jamie Murray plays her? Lovely. And yeah, this is such a good. And then it ends with the Batman show. It shows like Batman showing up somehow, but he's in shadows. I think Dreamcast 84 talked about this. So um, yeah, this is what I wanted. I was thinking about this final season of Gotham being very similar to what happens in Minneapolis. It's chaos. There's nothing. It's like a comic book. Could you imagine if what's happening in Minneapolis escalates? Nobody would want to be there. People would leave, just like Gotham. People would just take off. Like if it's just like turf wars and gang wars between the supervillains and the GCPD and Bruce Wayne and all that, there would be nothing left. It would just be everybody's out for, it would be the Wild West. Everybody's out for themselves. So if you can find this, or if you want to get it on VOD, you don't have to get it on HBO Max. But if you want to get it on YouTube, you want to purchase it, yeah, or get it on DVD. Because I really am tempted to watch this. After what's happening in Minneapolis, I'm tempted to watch this again. I'm tempted to see this again. Crazy white people starting some bullshit. That's all it is now. There's nothing left of Minneapolis. This is what needs to happen. Either Tim Walz gets his way and kills all the ICE agents, or Trump goes in there with the Insurrection Act and arrests Tim Walz. I know Republicans have said, well, let's arrest Obama, let's arrest Hillary, let's arrest Nancy Pelosi, let's arrest AOC, let's arrest this, that person. I think Tim Walz is this close to getting arrested. He has gone. Jacob Fry he's kept quiet. He hasn't said much, but Tim Walz is in deep doo-doo. And anything, I think, including the Minnesota Vikings, anything now attached to Minneapolis is like death until Trump fixes this problem. I know he's got his wife's got a movie out. I know he's got some other things with Greenland, but we gotta fix this shit. Tim Walz has got to go to jail. It's just it must happen, and not because we're just like shitting on Democrats. This really must happen. I really feel it. Check it out. Gotham season 5. Stay the course, everyone. Do something different and behave yourselves.